Solo queuing ranked is one of the most notoriously painful things about Rainbow Six Siege, which is why today I'm going to talk about some of my favorite solo queuing strategies as an attacker that can hopefully help make it a little more easy for you and a little more fun. In my opinion, one of the most underutilized points of attack on Cafe is the Heaven window. I'm going to show you multiple ways to take advantage of this window, as well as the counters to this that you should be prepared for. For each of these different strategies, it is very useful to pre-place your drone and pillars during the prep phase. Here's a few solid drone spots that can give you the info you need. This parkour spot onto the light can be a little tough to do, but it's one of my personal favorites. An easy and fairly hidden drone is on one of the chairs that are tucked under the table. You could hide it by the Christmas tree in the corner. And lastly is the classic drone in the China cabinet. Moving on to the actual gameplay, let's start off with Flores. In my opinion, Flores as a newer operator is still being used less often in rank than he's worth. He's got a great weapon, flashbangs, and has 4 C4s strapped onto RC cars that have the potential to not only destroy any bulletproof utility, but also has the lethal ability to kill. What you'll want to do with Flores on the site is go to the roof and use the Flores drones to clear as much defender utility you can in order to help your team out the best you can before you abandon them to make the solo play of the century. That way, just in case your play doesn't work out, you've still expended your utility and you're not being completely useless to your team. Use the skylight to clear any shields in the freezer or cocktail area, as well as any maestro bubbles on the pillars or in long bar. Once you've used all your explosive drones to the best of your ability, get on the Heaven rappel and open up the window. Throw a regular drone in and see where the defenders in cocktail are playing. Now is also a good time to check the drone you put in pillars during prep phase to make sure there's no defenders lurking down there watching for the rappel in the Heaven window. Once you're ready to go, throw your flashbangs one at a time as you rappel in to cover the sound of your rappel and also to blind the players playing in cocktail. Once you get C1 control, use the bar as a cover to lock down the position. Don't try to push any further, just hold the control you have and wait as the defenders try to retake this power position. If you can, call for a teammate to plant under the skylight. In the worst case scenario, your team doesn't listen and you go nuki mode in cocktail, get a couple kills, and put your team at an advantage to hopefully win the round. This same concept of rappelling in the Heaven window can also be done with grenades from Sledge or Maverick. Playing either one of these two ops gives you the ability to open the roof hatches for your team at the start of the round, and then you can help your team get cigar and piano control by getting on the ticket or stage window rappel. Then, once you have that control, head over to the Heaven window and use your grenades on cocktail while rappelling in to kill the cocktail players and get C1 control. The same concept should apply here, where you use a drone to get info on the cocktail players and check your pillars drone so that you know you're safe to rappel in. And remember, having this control is very, very strong, and you don't want to overpush and lose the control of cocktail by getting yourself killed. Ying is another very powerful operator on this window, as you can use smoke grenades to protect yourself from defenders watching the rappel in from pillars or players swinging under the skylight to peek you. After you throw the smoke grenades, roll a single tick candela across the floor that will get into the C2 area. Then fully cook another candela to blind the C1 player while you rappel in. Osa on the Heaven window is a great counter to defenders that play aggressively under the skylight or new hatch. However, because she doesn't have flashbangs or grenades, rappelling into the window with a C1 player is going to be a lot more difficult. If you get a drone in and see that there's no defender playing there, however, this is a great opportunity to rappel in and take the cocktail control. Lastly, if you're feeling confident, the Heaven window is an amazing rush spot for Amaru. Spawning in at River Docks allows you to sprint out of spawn towards the restaurant window, and using Amaru's grappling hook goes straight into the Heaven window from all the way on the ground. This rush is fast and can be an easy way to give your team an advantage early on in the round. However, once you're in, you're stuck there, so it's kill or be killed at that point. If you're confident in your gun skill, this strategy would have a high success rate in any rank below high plat. Now, the biggest weakness in this strategy is defenders playing pillars or underneath with a nitro cell and reading, which is why it's so important to have accurate information on where the defenders are before you rappel in the window. The more accurate your information is, the higher your success will be. Another possible risk is any defenders jumping out of the white or cocktail window once you get on the Heaven rappel, which is why you shouldn't waste too much time on your drone and simply execute as soon as you can. Another option to deal with this is to sit on the rappel and bait for the hop outs. Shoot a few shots into the cocktail door and then look over and be ready for the jump outs onto you. You might get an easy kill or two, and then you can still follow through with your original plan to rappel in the window. The second bomb site I want to enlighten you with today is the Kids Dorm site on Oregon, where we'll be focusing on abusing the big window to the best of our ability. For this, it's important to know when it's the right move to stay at the big window and try to hop in, and knowing when to give it up and help your team somewhere else.
Right now.
You got the cross? Okay,
Going up wide then.
Yeah,
Trying to hold the cross, yeah.
One's Gen, one's Gen.
On game as well.
On foosball table, on foosball table.
I'm Gen big.
Oh my god, it's... Wow.
One is underneath games. Coming bottom right,
There's only a few ways this side of the site will be set up. The first is that both kids' walls are reinforced. For the first few examples, let's work under the impression that you are an operator with grenades. If you see that both walls of kids are reinforced or have little to no holes in it, it makes the hop in big window much easier, as all you have to do is nade the player out of bunks, if there is one, and jump in the window while watching the swing from top white. If you're watching this video and you reinforce both kids walls while you're on defense, I would highly recommend never doing that ever again. If the left kids wall is reinforced, hopping in isn't quite as safe, but it's still relatively easy. Use a drone to figure out where the kids player is, and if he is not actively watching the big window hop in, the same logic applies, where you can nade the player out of bunks and jump in the window while watching the swing from top white. If there is an active player in kids watching the hop in, but nobody playing on white stairs, it's just as easy to nade the bunks player, then hop in the window while watching the kids holes to take the one-on-one gunfight on the kids player and secure bunks control. Once you have bunks control, hold your ground and try to kill as many defenders as possible while they attempt to retake. The final setup is that neither of the kids' walls are reinforced and there's holes to watch the big window jump in. This is the most challenging one because it has the most lines of sight to fight against. On the plus side, it can also make for easy kills on uncoordinated teams, as you can make a sight line to watch the attic rotate from outside the window and get easy kills onto defenders rotating through it. Hopping into the window with this setup is not something I would recommend unless you notice one of two things. One being that there's no defender playing in kids, and the second being that there's a defender in kids but there's no one playing big window or top white stairs. If the second case is true, it gives you the option to throw your grenade into the kids' holes as you're hopping in the window. This will pull the kids' players off of the holes, or at least the explosion will obscure his vision for a temporary amount of time, allowing you to get into the window and take a fair fight onto this player. Again, it is important that once you get control of bunks, you use it as cover in order to have a better chance of staying alive and keeping the control.
Oh fuck, he has a nitro still.
You can play now. You can just play.
Okay. I think he had a nitro still. I don't know.
The second way to take big window is by using Ying. This is much more straightforward, as all you need to do is smoke off any holes in the kids wall and use your Candelas to blind any defenders in bunks or playing top white. Then, going off the flashes, hop into the window and claim your kills. As a defender, the simple counter to this would be to put an ADS or a Rooney gate for the bunks player and to have a teammate in kids watching the hop in the window. If teams are constantly doing these attacks, you can also make a hole below the window and play in security to watch the jump in from below. Frost mats and alibi prismas are other great tools to make it more frustrating for the attacker attempting to jump in the window. The last site I want to talk about today is the Hookah Billiards bomb site on Coastline. This is the go-to bomb site for most ranked teams, and there's one very underutilized spot to catch defenders lacking, and that is the Hookah window rappel. The Hookah window is a great spot to pick up free kills onto unsuspecting defenders, and the best way to do this is as follows. Firstly, get onto the rappel, but don't punch or shoot the window. Throw your drone around to the hookah door and slowly drive it in without jumping it so that you can get information onto any players playing in hookah, hopefully without them hearing the drone. Usually a defender will sit inside hookah on the middle reinforced wall to billiards, which is a prime target for this. Once you get eyes on this player, drop a yellow ping on him, hop off your drone, punch the window, and claim your kill. One kill is usually the most you'll find on this window, especially earlier in the round, and you don't want to overstay your welcome here. So once you hit the window, the opportunity is gone after the first few seconds, and it's time to move on to another spot. Speaking of another spot, the Aqua Rappel is another place very similar to the Hookah Window Rappel. If you rappel up on the Aqua balcony and shoot a piece of barricade out, you can watch for any defenders rotating between billiards and Aqua, which can be some of the easiest kills to get and instantly put you and your team at an advantage. Working the hookah balcony on this site is a great way for an attacker to put a lot of pressure on the defenders simply by opening the door. If there's no shield on base facing the hookah balcony, you can effectively cut the rotations of any defenders coming back up from the Cool Vibe stairs. Droning hookah and vase from this position could potentially open up an opportunity to win the round for your team. If you notice there is nobody in hookah or vase, this gives you as an attacker the option to walk into site and catch defenders rotating back through aqua or up Cool Vibes. You could even walk through the site into vase to kill a player playing on the couches area beside billiards, and then be ready to fight defenders rotating back to site through VIP hall, billiards, or Cool Vibes. If there is a player playing vase with no ADSs to protect them, a viable strategy is to throw a grenade or flashbang in through the door to then walk in to fight the hookah player while the other defender is being caught up in the utility. If there's no hookah player in this situation, use your utility to flash or nade the vase player. Then confirm the kill by walking into site and taking the gunfight. The better your utility usage in situations like this, the better you will become as a player. The easiest counter to plays like this is to have a shield on vase protected by ADSs or Rooney gates, which then forces attackers to have multiple people committed to clearing the utility. I hope some of these tips will help you win more of your solo queue games. If you enjoyed the video and want to learn more about Rainbow Six strategy, make sure you subscribe to stay updated. Let me know what maps and sites you want to see more of in the comments below, and have a fantastic day.